We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us!
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
Hello and welcome to High School Famous, the ghouling month of episodes. Pretty good for on the fly.
Yes, this is the month of October, the spookiest month, one would argue. And we're going to get creepy all month. We're going to creep on you. We're going to approach you slowly in the shadows.
I feel like there's a better way of saying this.
Reaching out to touch some things. Creep.
But only with consent.
Oh! A lonely man's worst nightmare. Consent.
Wait. A pervert's worst nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is, right?
Well, yeah, a lonely man's worst nightmare. That's just like, oh, that lonely guy's also a creep. If consent is his worst nightmare.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, maybe not. You could be a lonely man and not be a pervert, I suppose.
I guess that's not a foreign thought in my brain.
I have yet to meet one.
I've yet to meet a lonely man who's not also creepy.
Yeah.
Sean, you going to the wrong bars.
Well, the signs are so bright and rainbowy.
So what you're saying is that all lonely gay men at gay bars are creeps?
No. Who said anything about gay bars?
You inferred gay bars.
No.
In what you said.
So I did say rainbowy, but I meant more like signs of all colors. They're just bright. As long as they're bright, they attract creepy fellows. Creepy fellows.
Creepy moths.
Touchy mouths.
Dad joke?
All right, fine. This dad joke is somewhat spooky. Someone tried selling me a coffin today, but it's the last thing I need.
It's true.
Because the compiling debt, he's in financial trouble right now.
Oh, he just got a lot on his plate.
Yeah, it's like, this is not an important purchase right now. I've got way more important things I need to spend my money on, like to pay off money I've already spent.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the joke said that.
Yeah, I mean, it made it funnier.
It sure did. And, because no one really needs a coffin anyway.
No, I mean, if you want to bury a body legally,
it has to be in a coffin.
A type of coffin, a coffin of some sort.
Can I just be buried in like a biodegradable sack?
We'd have to look up the rules.
I mean, I don't need some big, giant,
rules.
Expensive, treated, glossy wood. Cushiony, like I don't need to be comfortable. What's the point? This is all a bunch of pageantry.
Yeah, I mean, like they say, the funeral's not for the deceased.
Sure,
it isn't.
But
yeah,
no, so. I know it's just like a wedding. The wedding's what do they say for everybody else? But then why put that financial burden on everyone else that is paying for the funeral? Like why?
I think a lot of people plan their funerals out way ahead of time.
Sure.
And they have that stuff all taken care of so that it's not a financial burden for other people.
Yeah, but if you're like me and you're not going to do that, why make them pay all this money for this?
I mean, you could.
Box.
You're just stating now, I will not pay for my own funeral. So
I thought
why do you think I had a kid?
I mean, I'll donate my body to science.
You could do that.
It's a more useful, because eventually is the same things are going to happen. Rather get some studies out of it that could help advance things before it gets to that point.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll end up being.
I think a lot of people. Well, yeah, I think a lot of people do that. They'll like some people. I want to say I had on an aunt that had donated her body to science, and then it was a little while after that, then they cremated her, and I believe then I don't know if then we had the funeral or if we had the funeral prior to that, but without her there.
Sure.
I think it was after. I think it was she was cremated and then we had the service.
That makes more sense. You have the urn there and everything. And I mean, really, how long can the whole process last of donating your body to science? It's not going to be.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's a super long time because of,
they harvest certain
decay and stuff.
They harvest certain parts and they probably freeze some, or they find some way to store some pieces they need for a long periods of time if they have to. Then the rest they can get rid of as timely as possible.
Probably, yeah. Spooky. Well, Sean, we're going to keep it going. Last week we did something Halloween related.
We talked about Chuck Tingle and his his spooky works.
Some spooky Chuck Tingle novels.
Yep.
Novels? I don't know. Stories.
Books.
How many words does it need to be a novel? I assume more than 4,000.
These all say, they all say they're 4,100 or 4,200 on average words. So
right. So this week I found some chilling internet horror stories. Or I don't know if they're internet horror stories specifically, but they're stories. They're chilling horror stories and scary stories that I found on the internet. So they are now internet stories. And I'm just gonna read some to you. So I'm glad you have a well-lit room, and I hope you already went to the bathroom so that you don't pee yourself from fear.
From fear. I do. I can even turn my lights down if you want to make it a little more spookier in there? A little spookier.
Yeah, why don't let me make my room a little more chilling too. Besides the light behind me that's in the kitchen that you'll still see.
Well, that's not what I wanted to do.
I don't have fun, colorful lights that I can do though, you can.
Yeah, what's a spookier color?
Like a red.
Red seems to have a problem. Yeah, that's supposedly red. So
that's definitely not.
I have bad luck with. Yeah. We'll do purple.
Yeah, purple. Yeah, purple works. All right. Story number 1: the mystery of the yellow spot.
Wow.
2 brothers were sitting in their bedroom one evening.
Sorry.
Suddenly, what?
Sorry. I think you've seen that Rick and Morty clip, but
no, I don't know.
The interdimensional cable or whatever. There's this trailer for this movie or show or whatever called Two Brothers. Okay. Oh, it's ridiculous. You made me laugh and think of that.
All right.
2 brothers. Anyway, go on.
I assume this is 2 different brothers.
Probably, but yeah, you'll have to look the clip up afterward.
Okay. 2 brothers were sitting in their bedroom one evening. Suddenly, they looked up at the ceiling and saw a small yellow spot appear in the middle. The boys watched in horror as the yellow spot grew larger and larger. The boys ran up to the attic and opened the door. When they turned on the lights, they screamed. There, in the corner, stood their father, and he was peeing on the floor.
They were staring where at the beginning? Up at the ceiling?
They were looking up at the ceiling.
Gotcha. So
and then they went to the attic, and it was their dad peeing. So scary,
terrifying. I would probably label that as more concerning. Why is father is father one to sleepwalk or anything like that? Or is he going through some
maybe it's scary because that's when they found out that their father had dementia.
Yeah. What a way to find out.
It's the silent killer. The silent killer.
Yeah, no, yeah.
As everybody says.
As vocal as all the other conditions are that you can have.
Mm-hmm. Those much louder diseases.
I'd rather find out, someone has dementia in an interesting way like that versus like, well, what were the signs? How did you find out? Oh, they told me. Oh.
So it turns out I have dementia.
Yep. Things are going to get weird now. Sorry for things I might say, or if I don't remember you.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Like, turns out I have dementia. Sorry for your loss. Like, no, it's your loss. Memory loss.
Point. Wow.
Story 2.
What a terrifying endeavor or experience that must have been for those two brothers.
Yeah, their ceiling is ruined in a house they don't pay for.
Their ceiling is reparable.
Rated R. All right.
Hope it's Friday.
Dawn of the Bears.
Ooh, this sounds better than the last story.
Once upon a time. Always a good way to start a horror story.
Oh, yeah.
A brother and sister were camping. They didn't have any parents, so they went camping alone.
Does it really say that?
Yes.
Oh, man. Terrifying.
In the middle of the night, they heard some strange noises outside their tent. They thought it was bears, so they fired shots from inside the tent.
Putting holes in the tent? They shot holes through their tent?
Then they heard some noises that sounded like two bears dying from gunshot wounds.
This isn't the story.
I'm reading this. I did not make this up.
I thought you were just making that up.
Nope. At dawn the next morning, they went outside and discovered that it wasn't bears at all. Oh. It was actually their parents who had tracked them down because they loved them so much.
This is not a story.
This is a story from the internet.
Why did they sound like bears?
I don't know. But their parents... their parents tracked them down because they loved them so much.
Why
in the woods.
Yeah, but okay, hold on. Why does it say they don't have parents?
I don't know, Sean.
So, how long have their parents been missing? And how did they know they were camping at that campsite?
Well, and why didn't they not have parents if their parents loved them so much to track them down in the middle of the woods?
Yeah, well, they just realized they loved them so much, and so they decided it's time to track down the children. And guess what?
And how do these kids know that it sounded like two bears dying from gunshot wounds? How many bears have these kids killed?
Yeah, it's probably a lot.
That they know the sound.
Well, I mean, if they're parentless, for who knows how long, and they're very comfortable camping on their own without any parents, it's probably an activity they do a lot. So I'm guessing they've encountered a lot of bears whilst camping and have had to fire their firearms through their tent. They probably replace a lot of tents.
I like how it's it just says a brother and sister went camping. And then they didn't have any parents, so they went camping alone. The fact that they didn't have parents, the fact that they went, even if they had parents, they could still go camping alone.
Yeah.
Just because they didn't, even if they, it's ridiculous.
It doesn't say two young siblings. They could be in their
children.
They could be in their late 30s as siblings, and they go camping together,
right,
without their parents' permission.
I just love that line. They didn't have parents, so they went camping alone.
This sounds like something you would have come up with to try to trick me.
Right, but okay, cat's out of the bag. I found stupid stories on the internet, stupid horror stories on the internet, or scary stories, obviously. I did not write these. I need to reiterate that and make sure it's known. These are on a site called scaryforkids.com.
Scary for kids. Okay.
Yeah, under the subheading of stupid stories.
So we have to put ourselves in the mind of a child and what they might think.
They would probably find this scary. Children would find it very scary to go camping without their parents.
Oh, yeah. And then, well, hold on. Who gave these kids firearms? They have guns.
That they're stupid enough to shoot from within a tent.
Without really confirming what's outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoot first, ask questions later.
So let's play this out. It's nighttime, right? It's in the middle of the night. So we don't have a shadow. You could see the outline of a shadow from outside the tent in the daytime. You could tell it's a person. Mm-hmm. But they're going strictly off of line of sound, like what direction these noises are coming from. They blast out like sharpshooters, hitting they hit each parent fatally.
Right.
Without looking.
And the parents obviously, like, if it sounded like two bears dying from gunshot wounds, you'd think you would hear, like, growling and, like, bear noises.
I know.
So apparently these parents got shot, didn't, like, vocalize anything with words. They just grumbled and growled and then succumbed to their wounds.
Ate some honey. I think that the shots were so precise that they were not able to vocalize anything on the way down. All the sound of them being bears dying is just a thud, I bet.
Maybe.
And would you not go outside the tent and check?
You think you'd do any type of investigation throughout this entire experience, like before you fire shots?
Oh, yeah.
For sure. And after you hear what sounds like two bears dying, maybe you'd go and check to make sure they're actually dying?
Yeah. Or
instead of just like, oh, it's morning.
Did you?
What a restful sleep we've had.
There was nothing eventful about last night. If you are hearing noises outside your tent, they just thought, these are bears. Fire. They didn't at one point go, is anyone out there, or who is there? Anything that would have potentially resulted in a vocal response from a human being.
Right.
So this is good. Thanks, Matt. Right. That's what happened. So this is not true stories to scare children. It's just wacky.
I hope that these aren't people trying to like pass these off as real stories.
No,
like this actually happened. I'm actually me telling them
one of the bears.
This is a friend of mine's brother and sister. It wasn't me. I didn't kill my parents who were coming back because they love me so much.
This story,
all right,
yeah, okay. So it doesn't check out. But go on.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's good or real.
It's real good. It's real good.
Return of the Frozen Baby. In summer 1971, a girl had just turned 16 and found out she was pregnant. After the baby was born, she realized she was too young to be a mother, so she decided to put her baby in the freezer. A few years later, she met a nice man, got married, and felt she was ready to have a child. So she took the baby out of the freezer and tried to heat it up in the microwave, but it was already dead.
So the baby being dead from being frozen, that will not prevent her from being able to heat it up in the microwave. It will prevent her from being able to revive the baby, but she can go on ahead and heat it up. The baby being dead will not hinder that attempt whatsoever.
That is true.
So
I'm glad that's what you took away from this story.
Well, okay. Well, half the time I was trying to think, okay, 1971, she was 16, so how old is she now? But I didn't know if she was going to be dead in the story or not, and it was going to be important to come up with that answer before the end. So she meets a nice young man when she's feeling like she's ready and of age to have children. So her first thought is not, let me have a baby.
I should make a new baby
with this man. I'm going to...
No, I want him to raise my frozen baby with me.
Yeah, I'm going to warm up, and I'm going to nuke this baby, and then maybe explain to him what's going on and hope that he's cool with it.
Yeah.
Also...
like, hey, look, I had a baby.
Also, I'm guessing, so the original baby was born... Original, there's only one. The baby was born when this woman was 16, yes?
Yeah.
My guess is...
She had just turned 16 and found out she was pregnant. So, yeah, she would have still been 16 by the time the baby was born.
So she's 16. My guess is by the time she gets married to this gentleman, she has moved at least once. And so this baby has gone from freezer to freezer.
Yeah.
Because
if she was 16, she was most likely living with her parents still.
Right. Because if she's not ready to have a baby, she's not ready to live on her own.
Yeah.
So this baby has moved with her at least one time and been transported from one freezer to another.
That, or she just left the baby
at her parents'
in the original
house.
Freezer, went back
Sure.
there.
Okay.
Went to heat it up.
Sure, that's possible. Maybe they had one of those chest freezers in the basement or the garage or something that wasn't checked very often. Do you think she let her parents know? Hey, by the way, I'm just going to store this baby in here for a while until I'm ready.
Yeah, don't throw that baby out.
Don't throw the baby out. I don't care if it's got some.
I know you guys are planning to clean that freezer out this weekend, but Leave the package marked baby. Yeah. Leave that.
The package marked baby.
Don't throw that one out. That's mine. I'm saving that for later. Saving that for when I'm ready.
Yeah, saving it for when I'm hungry.
And the microwave, you think that's the best place to heat up a baby?
No, go old school. This is the 70s.
Oven, man.
Yeah, people still did a lot of oven cooking back then.
Yeah. Probably a nice convection oven would do the trick.
Yeah. Or just lay it out in the sun. You don't want to heat it up too fast.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's best to defrost the baby first.
You have to do that. Put it in the sink in some cold water.
Yeah. Let it thaw out.
Yeah. Then you warm it up.
Then you heat it up in the, back to 98.6 degrees.
Back to alive. Didn't she read the directions?
Make sure the baby has an internal temperature of 98.6 degrees.
Get that meat thermometer out. So do you think that, you think those two are still together?
Yeah, so I think this is a real story?
Yeah. You think they're alive and well? And,
think their marriage survived?
You think they've had, new children? I mean, she took the term "bun in the oven" like way too literally.
Yeah, yeah.
She tried to play off a Hawaiian roll as her child.
It's like, sorry, honey, I don't want leftovers.
Blue?
This next story is called "Something Caught His Eye." One night, a man was walking down the street when something caught his eye.
The end.
There was the end. There was a trail of blood leading into a dark alley. He followed the trail and found a bloody doll with blonde hair laying on the ground. He picked it up, but immediately slipped and fell over, narrowly missing impaling himself on a nail by an inch. He knew the doll had dark powers, so he selfishly thrust it into the hands of a young girl who was passing by.
What?
I don't know. The next day, he heard on the news that a young girl had been mugged in the alley the night before.
By a doll.
Her eyes had been gouged out so that she couldn't identify the criminals. He felt guilty because it had been his fault the girl was mugged. The man immediately ran to the hospital and volunteered to donate his eye to her. When he woke up after the surgery, the man was shocked. He couldn't see a thing. "What did you do to me?" he asked the doctor. "I only wanted to donate one eye." "But you only had one eye to begin with," replied the doctor.
What? Wait a minute. What?
There's a lot of unanswered questions in that story.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
There's no explanation as to why he only had one eye and why he assumed he had two.
Yeah, that's troubling right there. Mm-hmm. Okay, this guy, this doll's cursed and it's going to kill me. Here you go, little girl. That's red flag number one.
Oh, yeah, this is not a good person.
Right. Why is the doll bloody is my question. Because dolls don't, pump blood through their bodies in order to be dolls. So...
Well, and the other question is that he picked it up, but immediately slipped and fell over, narrowly missing impaling himself on a nail by an inch. And then he knew the doll had dark power. No, you're clumsy.
I slipped in it.
You're slipping in blood that was in the alleyway. That's like, if you see a trail of blood going into an alleyway,
let me check
the last thing I'm going to do is like, I better go see what's going on in here. I'd be like, no, I'll stay away from whatever that trail leads to. I'll probably call the cops and just say, hey, I see a bloody trail leading into an alleyway.
Yeah.
I'm not stepping foot in there.
Right.
Because one, you could easily become a victim, or two, you might be contaminating a fucking crime scene.
Yeah.
Like, just stay out of there. 3,
it might be in an alleyway. I don't know. My depth perception is a little off.
Yeah. 4, it could just be somebody having a bad period. And you don't want to go down there because she'll be really unbearable to be near. Send your hate mail to Sean Tattoo at highschoolfamous.com. Just kidding.
That's not a real email address.
It's not.
So send away. Huh. Well,
but yeah, I just love how he's like, he immediately ran to the hospital and volunteered to donate his eye to her.
So, so she got mugged, right? And the mugger, naturally, as all muggers do, gouged out her eyes. I'm guessing she could still describe what she saw before her eyes were gouged out to the authorities.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the thing is like, she still saw you. Like, that doesn't take away the memories of anything she's ever seen.
Yeah. So this mugger does not.
You can't describe me now unless he gouged out her eyes immediately upon mugging her. Like, she didn't even get to see her assailant.
Like, maybe he snuck up behind her and just,
immediately gouged out her eyes. Instead of just being like, don't turn around, don't look at me, give me all your stuff. If you turn around at any point to look at me, I will kill you. And then he could have just done that without gouging out her eyes.
Right. But he didn't this is his first mugging.
Yeah, he hasn't had any experience with he just assumes like immediately I need to gouge out their eyes.
He got terrified once he saw the cursed doll. He's like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Oh, yeah.
So I will make it so it's really difficult for you to throw this doll toward me by not allowing you to see where I am.
Put it in my hands.
Because all I wanted was
See, the smart thing she could have done is when she was getting mugged, she could have just handed him. That was one of the things she could have handed him. Like, oh, you're mugging me. Take all my things. Here's also this doll I have.
And then she'd run away, giggling. And then she'd slip on some blood and fall onto a nail.
She wouldn't get far because she'd start skipping away and immediately just run into like a wall or something because she now has no eyes.
So if the original guy got up and like immediately threw this doll at the girl was also in the dark alley? Was she the one who was bloody?
No, I think she was passing by.
So he ran out of the alley.
She was passing by the alley.
He ran out of the alley and then threw it at her. And then
he selfishly thrust it into her hands.
That's some good aim for someone with one eye.
Yeah.
I would have missed on purpose.
Sean, this next story is called Attack of the Tree. Singular.
Oh, thank God. I could take on one tree.
Two kids were walking through the woods. Suddenly, a tree fell on them both and squished them to death. But the kids didn't die instantly. They lived for several painful hours.
Okay.
Then they died.
It squished them to pain.
Then they died. In the morning, the neighbors called the police because they had heard some screams. Once the police got to the scene of the accident, they realized that the tree was actually the kid's father, and they arrested him for murder.
So the father was still laying on them?
I guess.
If you had reports of a tree falling on children, and you walk up and you don't see a tree, you're not going to look at a person and go, hey, wait, that's the tree right there.
But it's like, so this is the crazy part, right?
It's the father who loved them very much and went to find them, track them down.
But it's like, if you try to look at the story from the way the writers, the perspective of how the writer's putting this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's there to witness this tree falling on the kids and killing them. So why do you say a tree fell on the kids and killed them? And then you say, oh, actually their father killed them.
Yeah. There's how, because okay, let's say this was, there never was a tree though.
Yeah, if it was just their father like crushed them to death in some way, not even using like his body, just laying on them, right? The father just used an implement of some type to crush his children to death, but nobody was there to witness it. Then what's the point of saying a tree fell on these kids?
Because it doesn't say, it says that it wasn't a tree, right? It was actually the kid's father and not a tree, specifically not a tree. Because it says,
they realized that the tree was actually the kid's father. So it'd be different if if it was tree. No. It'd be different if they said like the kids were crushed by a tree, but the tree didn't just fall on them randomly. The tree was dropped on them by their father. Like then that makes sense. The father actually killed the kids using a tree, but no, the tree was the kid's father. So it's still saying that in this way, the way it's worded, it's still saying that they were crushed to death by their father. On them.
I think what really happened, and
it squished them to death, but they didn't die instantly.
They didn't die instantly. Well, it still did. I think what most logically happened is, some freaky woman got down with a tree one night and then gave birth to this half tree, half human child. And then later on, the tree was resentful because the mom never brought the kid around to visit the tree. And so when the kid happened to be walking by the tree committed murder-suicide, knocked itself down, crushed the kid with himself.
And then
they did a DNA test.
They arrested the tree for murder.
Yeah, exactly. The tree and the mom went on Maury. They did a paternity test. You are the father. She storms out off stage in a fit, emotional, and then the crowd is on the tree's side now.
Why?
Because it's like, she never let me see him. I wanted to be a supportive father. She never brought him around. I love that kid. She drove me to it. She drove me to it.
Not literally, because I'm a tree. I have to stay in one place.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
Okay. This next story is called The Cursed Sweater.
Oh, no.
One cloudy autumn afternoon, a guy was driving down a deserted country road. He stopped to pick up a hitchhiker. She was a pretty girl and she seemed really nice. He dropped
her there with her thumb out.
Yeah. He dropped her off in front of her house. The next day, he realized she had left her sweater in his car. He tried it on, and although it was warm, it had horses on the front, so he decided he didn't want it. But then, what? To his horror, he couldn't take it off. That night, as he slept, he was sure he could hear the horses saying, nom, nom, nom. And then, no matter how much food he ate, he kept losing weight. But the horses kept getting fatter and fatter. Eventually, he happened to look down and screamed when he noticed the horses had human faces. Then the guy died.
Why is it that you're able to find this wacky stuff online and I can never find anything nearly as interesting as stuff you find?
I don't know, man. I literally Googled bad scary stories and it was literally the first link I opened.
So the woman...
Let's dissect this.
So the woman must have known the properties of the sweater and
she
never
left that
worn
sweater
it
on purpose.
Right. She's never wore it. So maybe she made the sweater and enchanted it or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm going to, plant this on some unsuspecting, kind-hearted person that will offer to help someone in need on the side of the road.
Yeah, maybe she made a deal with like a demon or something, and the demon was like, give this sweater to someone, it will kill them, and I will give you
your breast will
whatever
grow
the hell you
sizes.
want. Yeah, whatever you want a bigger clit. That's what girls like, right?
Massive clit.
A massive clit.
Yeah.
Girls
they call
love
me
that.
tripod.
They call me slug. The horses had human faces is an unnecessary thing.
I think that's something you would have noticed right away.
Yeah.
I like how
eventually he happened to look down.
Well, yeah. At no point. Well, okay. If you go home, put on a sweater, which this man and this woman are the same size apparently, or she's much larger than him.
I think he said, because he didn't say it wasn't like it was too small. He just said
he didn't like it because he
tried it on, and although it was warm, it had horses on the front, so he decided he didn't want it.
Yeah.
You should have noticed the horses were on it before you even put it on.
Exactly.
Make the determination you didn't want it right then and there.
But to then walk around and not look down ever, or even look in them in a mirror. Like if you have a sweater you cannot take off, you might like go in the mirror and see if you can get a better view of what's going on. Maybe there's something, it's caught on something. I don't know.
Grab some scissors.
Do something.
Cut it off.
But there's got to be a way.
Once he lost a ton of weight, you think it would have been easier to get off.
So he should have just hit the treadmill. Oh yeah, no, he was losing weight because
no matter how much he ate, he kept losing weight.
So the human-faced horses were gaining weight because of the food he was eating, but he never felt hungry still? It's not like he would eat...
I mean, he said no matter how much food he ate, he kept losing weight. So he would probably just keep eating and eating and eating because he was probably still hungry, but he was just losing weight and the horses kept getting fatter. But then the horses had human faces and then he died.
Then he died for no explanation.
That was the 4-word sentence at the end of this story.
Well, because in a way, up until that point, it's almost like a good story. It's like, oh, sweet. I accidentally happened upon this weight loss sweater. I can eat whatever I want and I just lose weight. This is perfect.
Weight loss sweater.
Yeah. And then Then he died. So they're like, well, we have to make this a scary story. So let's end it by he died.
Then he died. Like just the story in itself has bits and pieces of like, okay, this is kind of like at least kind of an interesting concept of a story of like a man puts on a sweater and then no matter how much he eats, like this would be like a Tales from the Crypt. It'd be like a short little video, like a 30-minute little like movie or story or whatever. That would be like, a guy, he's like, oh, puts on the sweater. Oh, you know what? I can't get it off. And then, he eats and eats and eats and keeps getting thinner and thinner and thinner. But the human faces thing is weird. And then and then he died. It's very anticlimactic ending.
I think that, I like how he must have just given up. I'm like, well, the sweater's on me forever. I'll just go get a snack. Like, wouldn't you?
Because
call someone over. Call a friend and be like, hey, can you come and help me try to get this stupid sweater off? It won't come off.
Yeah, but then to his horror, he couldn't take it off. That night, as he slept, he was sure he could hear horses saying, om nom 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 nom.
That might have clued you to the fact that, horses don't say nom nom.
Not usually.
No. So
they don't typically say it.
Wouldn't that be the first clue that maybe these aren't human-headed or these aren't horse-headed horses?
Well, it just said he was sure that he could hear it. I don't think he confirmed it.
It was in his sleep, though, right?
Yeah. He was sleeping. So maybe he equated it to just a bad dream. All right, this story's called Glass Elevator of Evil. One time, a guy got onto a glass elevator. He pushed the button for the 10th floor. The doors closed, and the elevator went up. The indicator light climbed higher. 8, 9, 10, 11. The elevator didn't stop on the correct floor, nor did it stop at all, ever. But when it did stop, the man was a skeleton.
Wait, what? It didn't stop ever.
I know. But when it did, the man was a skeleton.
So for him, it in his perception, it never stopped because he died before it stopped.
Yeah, for him, it never stopped. I wonder what floor he got to by the time it never.
Yeah, I know. How many?
I want to say by the time it never stopped. By the time he
was
no longer noticed that it was. Yeah. Well, it'd been way before he was a skeleton. He would have died well before that.
So what's your question then? I'm
wondering what floor it got to by the time he died.
Gotcha.
Not what floor did it get to by the time he was a skeleton.
How do you know they're different? Maybe his death was that he was stripped of everything but his bones. The elevator sucked off
phrasing?
The elevator removed every every other bit of tissue.
It degloved.
Yeah.
His whole body. Could be.
Or maybe it was like what do they call that? Flash no, that's freezing. Anyway, go ahead, go on.
Thinking spontaneous combustion?
Maybe, no, not that. But something that like instantly burned off everything except the bones, and then that was the way he died on the elevator.
Gotcha. All right, so these next set of stories are
plural.
Do not have titles to them. This first one is actually apparently like old school, like internet, like popularity story. This like apparently caused a big trend of things and memes back in the day. I don't know how long ago, probably quite a long time ago. All right. So you and your honey you are with your honey and you're making out when the phone rings. You answer it and the voice is, "What are you doing with my daughter?" You tell your girl and she say, "My dad is dead." Then who was phone? I guess the then who was phone thing was a very big thing for a while on the internet.
So that caught on. People saying who was phone. That
caught on. Then who was phone?
Read it again. What? Read it again.
So you're with your honey and you're making out when the phone rings. You answer it and the voice is, "What are you doing with my daughter?" You tell your girl and she say, "My dad is dead." Then who was phone?
Okay.
Did it make more sense the second time?
No, it's still awful. I can't believe this was popular. I guess this is something people made fun of.
I think it's just the funny. Yeah, I think somebody wrote it.
Is there a writing credit to any of these?
No.
I would love to meet
I don't think there was.
I would love to meet who was phone guy or girl? Like, who wrote that?
Yeah, I'm thinking it was some, like, it seems like English is not your first language thing. The way it's written is really messed up. And
I mean, who uses the term honey anymore?
Right.
And father.
Well, it's like, it's so you are with your honey and you're they're just leaving the O's out of things, making out when WEN, the phone rings, RIGNS. So it's like, it's just, it's like, it's all over the place. Dead is just DED. You tell your girl N, she say, my dad is dead. So it's just, yeah.
Well, I say valiant effort on their part. Then.
Yeah, to me, it's like a bad 2-sentence horror story.
Versus all those
situation.
All those stellar ones that are great.
Well, the ones that are specifically stated as bad. All right. I'm kind of skipping through some of these because some of them I read through them, and there's some that are just not even interestingly bad. They're just bad.
Sure.
All right. One day there were a couple of scuba divers who saw a sign that said "No scuba diving." And they had such poor parenting that they didn't even look at it.
But they saw it.
I know.
They saw
just
it,
when they were having
okay, all right.
Just when they were having a good time scuba diving, they found a secret place where all the bad guys live. When they saw the bad guys coming out of it and looking around, they got so afraid that they never scuba dived again. However, years later,
when they scuba dived again.
However, years later, some of the bad guys came and found them and broke some of their scuba gear.
What a stupid story.
I fucking love that one.
It doesn't
it's one
matter.
of my favorite.
They never went scuba diving again, so who cares if their stuff's broken?
I know. It's one of my favorite stories I've read. It's so good.
But then some of the bad guys came.
But just that, yeah. And they had such poor parenting that they didn't even look at it.
Kids always look at signs. Always.
Yeah. Make sure you always read signs.
Yeah.
That's good. That's what a good parent will tell you.
And choose whether or not to obey them. We're not telling you to obey all the signs. Just look at them. That way, if anyone asks, you can't plead ignorance.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because they didn't even look at it, but clearly they saw the sign because it said so in the sentence prior.
I know.
Or not even the sentence prior, the part of that same sentence prior.
The part of that same sentence prior. Maybe that's just the storyteller telling you that it said that on the sign.
Maybe. It said they saw there was a couple of scuba divers who saw a sign that said no scuba diving.
Oh, okay. It said, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. There was a ghost in a house on a cliff overlooking the sea. On a stormy night, a couple had a car breakdown outside of the house and decided to sleep there for the night. The ghost attacked them and threw candlesticks and books and candlestick holders and bookshelves at the couple.
And book holders and bookmarks.
I mean, proper order, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah,
the candlesticks first, then the candlestick holders.
I
books,
get it.
Then the bookshelves. Yeah.
I mean, they could have just, thrown the candlesticks and the candlestick holders at once, and then the books and the bookshelves at once.
But then you're throwing all that ammo at one time when you're like,
what if you miss?
What
if you miss?
Like, you can kind of, what do they call that? Ration your your projectiles.
Your ammunition.
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So yeah, bookshelves at the couple. The couple ran around the house 3 times. They were trying to run away from the ghost. They were trying to run away from the ghost, but he flew at them too fast. The ghost eventually ate the couple. Now there are 3 ghosts in that house.
These are awesome.
I know. These are so fun. Oh, this one. All right. This is the story of the day there was all this blood. A man was walking around and blood started coming out of him everywhere. There was so much blood that it filled up an elevator.
That's not enough blood in a person to do that.
I know. He went to the store and there was just blood all over the place. People were slipping in it and they were all grossed out. He tried to go swimming and all of the sharks went nuts and bittened everybody.
Bittened?
Bittened. He got chased by all the vampires ever. One time, the blood got a kid and a dog. At the end of the day...
Wait a minute. What does got mean?
I don't know. At the end of the day, everyone decided they would send him to space so he would stop getting blood everywhere.
I like how he's like, oh man, I'm bleeding everywhere. I better go to the store.
Yeah, I better just, keep going around places and annoying everyone.
I better go for a dip. Like, what is this guy thinking?
Nothing smarter than swimming in the ocean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Never crossed his mind once to, like, go to a hospital or, get some... Maybe he was going to the store to get some gauze or something.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
All right.
So we could swim.
Send him to space so that he would not get blood everywhere. The scariest part is that the man is you. Or he was a lady if you're a lady. And you forgot this happened.
So what does that mean now? What am I in space now?
You're in space. Yeah, but you forgot.
But I forgot that I'm in space.
You forgot that you were bleeding everywhere. I mean, you could have came back from space.
How?
I don't know.
Well, did they leave me in a pilotable vessel that can get back to Earth?
No, that would have filled with blood.
So they just let me out there in space. You wouldn't have been able to
see.
So I couldn't even have been in a spacesuit because that would have filled up with blood.
Yeah.
So I just would have died from being in the vacuum of space. So it doesn't matter if I remembered it happening or not. I'm dead.
It's very possible.
What's very possible?
That you'd be dead.
I know. I mean, it's the only thing that can happen.
It's the only thing that's possible.
Because how can I be in space, not in something that will fill up with blood, and survive?
Yeah. Yeah, because if he's bleeding out of everywhere.
What I love about these stories is they're just imaginative and they're not like, this has to make sense. Like, they're just great.
Oh, yeah. They're like, either people are purposely writing very ridiculous stories or it's just people just don't understand how to fully
tell a good story.
Realize a story. All right. There was a girl who was sleeping over at this house.
Or a guy, unless you're a guy.
Yeah. There were 2 rooms in the house, and each of them had 4 people in it. Then, in the middle of the night, one of the girls had to go poop, so she got up and used the toilet in her room. Then, a few hours later, she needed to poop again, so she got up again and pooped in the toilet in her room. Then the next morning, when they were leaving, the girl needed to go to the bathroom again, so she went up to her room. When she got there, the toilet was gone. She couldn't believe it. She was sure it was there last night because she pooped in it twice. The girl was so freaked out, she ran out of there as fast as she could.
That's it?
That's it.
I don't know.
I was imagining she was probably pooping in somebody's like duffel bag or something.
Yeah, I thought she would realize, oh no, there was never a toilet after all. I've been pooping on a chair,
or in like a monster's mouth.
Haunted monster.
Like, toilet monster.
I was
like
pooping.
If she would have like woke up the next day and saw the toilet walking around downstairs, be like, "Hey, I'm Carl."
What did this girl eat?
I don't know. She pooped. How do you poop that many times?
I don't know, but no one else had the same problem. So she ate something completely different, or just way more than anybody else ate during that sleepover.
That, or she has IBS.
That could be. You know what?
Yeah,
moderate to severe.
We shouldn't. Yeah, we shouldn't. This sounds severe.
This sounds like a severe case.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm
severe.
It's on all the commercials.
It's true. Okay, let me see. Okay. One time in March, This 11-year-old girl was alone chatting online, and this guy kept sending her instant messages. So she reported it to the manager.
Wait a minute. She's chatting online. That's what you
yeah, the internet manager.
That's what you receive. Oh yeah. What manager? But that's what you receive when you're chatting online is instant messages. So what's the problem here?
She realized she thought she was sending it to the internet manager. She was just actually IMing more people, instant messaging more people.
Yeah.
And it's totally fucked up. Okay. Reported it to the manager. Then the door opened, so she got offline very quickly.
The internet
and picked
door?
up the phone. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. Hold on.
It's probably the door to her room or wherever she's chatting online from.
But it still doesn't matter. Then the door opened, so she got offline very quickly and picked up the phone.
To pretend she's on the phone instead of on the internet chatting with strangers.
Maybe, but it was dead. Then an instant message flashed on her screen. It said, "I snipped the phone line and I'll snip you." Her mom found her the next day. Snipped in 2 pieces.
Okay.
Like the door. So was the door flying open? Did that freak her out? And that's why she picked up the phone?
Yes.
Like,
she's like, oh crap.
It just doesn't make sense.
No. So she probably was doing some questionable. She probably wasn't supposed to be online chatting with strangers and men that will send her instant messages on the internet. So mom opens the door. She's like, ah! And she closes the computer or the browser or whatever, throws the phone to her ear to be like, oh, I'm just chatting with, Sally. And then her cover's blown because that message pops up on her screen saying,
right,
I snipped the phone line.
And now I'll snip you. Crazy.
That's the scariest story so far.
Oh, well, good. We're getting better.
Hey, why is our counter thing counting backwards?
It's not.
I gotcha. I scared you. Terrifying.
Oh, man.
You got scared.
I peed. There was this girl.
You pooped in the toilet that you swear is in your room.
I'm sitting. It must be a toilet.
It's got to be a toilet. It's cold and wet. So, I mean, anytime I feel anything cold and wet near my rear end, I just let loose.
You shoot it, assuming it's a bear?
Yeah. Happens every time I go into a pool.
Yeah. The sharks go nuts.
They lose their shit.
I actually loved that line of the sharks. What was it? Yeah, he tried to go swimming and all of the sharks went nuts and bitten everybody. Oh, man. One time the blood got a kid and a dog, John.
I don't get what that means. Like it took them away. Like,
got him.
You're coming with me. I'm oxygenized.
Got him real good. All right. Once there was a girl named Nikki who was 6 years old, and she had a babysitter named Lisa. When her parents went out at night, Nikki liked playing with her babysitter. But one night the power went out, and Nikki was freaked out. Lisa went down to the basement trying to turn it back on, and then Nikki heard footsteps. She cried out, "Lisa, what's happened?" But no answer. Then all of the sudden, the lights turned on, and there was a man standing there, and Nikki screamed and screamed. At 11 p.m., Nikki's parents came home. Mm-hmm. At 11 p.m., Nikki's parents came home. Lisa was sitting on the couch. "Hi, Lisa. Where's Nikki?" they said. "Upstairs sleeping," said Lisa. "Okay, here's your money," they said. "Thank you." And Lisa and walked out. Then all of the sudden, the parents screamed. Nikki was skinned alive and her bones were laying on her bed, and a note was written on the wall in blood, which said, "How do I look, Mommy?" The police finally caught Lisa, and it turned out her real name wasn't really Lisa. It was Larry, and she was a man. Well, he was a man, should I say.
Or should I say, a murderer.
Or a man, if you're a man.
You're either a woman murderer or you're a man.
How'd you like that one?
That was stupid.
All right. Now, so the first set of stories I read were just kind of on this first stupid stories page. And then in that page, there was a bunch of links to more stories. So that second set, I just read through was called Stupid Tales.
Mm-hmm.
So I clicked on a couple more. These are just one-off stories. So each story is a tiny bit longer. And these were just 3 that I kind of looked at the first like 3 pretty much. I think are these the first 3? Yeah, these are like the first 3 plus those Stupid Tales. So there's still another couple dozen probably that we could definitely do at another time.
Wow.
Or save them for next year. But this one's called Michael and Michelle.
Oh, those are very similar names.
There was a dark and stormy night when the 2 friends, Michael and his friend Michelle, were walking home one night. There is so much that happens in that first sentence.
Read it again. I need to take all this in.
All right. There was a dark and stormy night when the 2 friends, Michael and his friend Michelle, were walking home one night.
So there was a stormy night when they were walking home one night.
Yep. The 2 friends, Michael
and his friend
Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way too many words.
All right. A bunch of stuff in that sentence doesn't need to
Economy
be
of words, people. Right. Economy of words.
All right. As they walk, Michael tried to put hand on Michelle. Michelle does not like hands on her.
Michael talks
so she pushes Michael away and presses him. Michael becomes angry and pushes and presses back, except he does it harder, so he kills Michelle by breaking her brain. Michelle was dead, and Michael was really scared, so he threw her body into a sewer because there was a manhole next to where he pushed and pressed Michelle to death. So he threw her in the manhole and went home and his mom said, "Why were you out so late?" And he said, "No reason," and went to bed. While he was asleep, though, he heard a noise from his closet and the door opened and Michelle came out, except she looked dead. Michael asked, "Michelle, I thought you were dead." And Michelle laughed really loud, except it was a deep and scary laugh. And then she pushed and pressed Michael and broke his brain. And then she broke his mom's brain, and then his little sister, and then she broke everyone's brain. Also, what's that creak coming from your closet door?
Oh,
the end.
Oh, it's Michelle!
It was a deep, scary laugh, Sean.
I like how they asked, "I thought you were dead."
Yeah.
That's not a question.
Michelle, I thought you were dead.
I've never heard of any type of a struggle or confrontation or fight where someone's like, "Yeah, he pressed me. Oh my God, he pressed me so much. My brain broke."
He pushed and pressed me and broke my brain, thus killing me.
So that story makes people afraid of both manholes and closets. It's a twofer. What?
Sounds like it might have double meaning.
It does.
Oh, okay. This one is called John Was a Zombie.
Past tense.
Okay.
All
right. John Stelvern waited. The lights above him blinked and sparked out of the air. There were demons in the base. He didn't see them, but had expected them now for years. His warnings to Colonel Joson were not listened to. Joson. Joson?
Yeah, I guess.
Joson?
Either one, I guess.
Colonel also is spelled Cernel.
Oh, like a kernel of corn?
Yeah.
Or is that K?
Is that how you spell kernel of corn? Because I know because I don't think it is. It doesn't look right.
Well, I think it's actually with a K. Kernel?
Either way.
Anyway.
His warnings to Colonel Joson were not listened to, and now it was too late. Far too late for now, anyway. The fuck does that mean?
Later on, it won't be too late, but right now it is.
Far too late.
Far too late.
For now. How can something be far too late for now?
I know.
It's got to always be far too late.
I know. Maybe it's like, well, it was the right amount of too late before, but now it's far too late. So later on, we'll have to get to a point where it's just the right amount of too late again.
Yeah.
But that's not now.
It comes back back around somehow.
Yeah, too lateness goes in cycles.
All right. Back to John was a space marine for 14 years. When he was young, he watched the spaceship and he said to Dad, I want to be on the ships, Daddy. Dad said, no, you'll be killed by demons.
What?
There was a time when he believed him. Then he got older. He stopped.
Because it was far too late.
Then he got older. He stopped. Yeah. But now, in the space station base of the UAC,
he believed him again.
He knew there were demons. This is Josen, the radio crackered. You must fight the demons. So John godded his plasma rifle and blew up the wall.
The exterior
He
wall.
Going to kill us, said the demons. I will shoot at him, said the cyber demon, and he fired the rocket missiles. John plasmaed at him and tried to blow him up. But then the ceiling fell, and they were trapped and not able to kill. No, I must kill the demons, he shouted. The radio said, no, John, you are the demons. And John was a zombie. The end.
This is so crazy.
There isn't a piece of that I understand.
I know. This is the same story that includes it was far too late for now.
Yeah. Far too late for now, anyway. There were demons in the base. He didn't see them, but had expected them for years.
I know, this is so weird. It turns out he was the demon.
Yeah. No, what was that? Yeah, what was it?
You are the
No, I must kill the demons, he shouted. The radio said, no, John, you are the demons.
The demons.
And then John was a zombie. So which is it?
I don't know.
A demon or a zombie?
I don't know.
Oh my
What's
God.
happening?
It's so good.
That's a good story to close on.
Oh, I have one more.
Okay, one more.
Yeah, I have
Better
one
be
more.
good.
I know. I see. The funny thing is I put this other one at the end because I didn't think this one would get as good of a reaction as it did.
You didn't? Oh wow!
I apparently maybe the first time I read through it, it didn't sink in as well.
Sure.
So this one might not make you laugh as hard as that one did. So we'll see. This one is called How to Get a Boyfriend. One day I asked my mom for advice about how to get a boyfriend. She went quiet for a while and then looked at me with tears in her eyes. Don't bother, she said. Then she told me this story. My mother's name is Fran. I don't know why she told me this story and started off by saying my mother's name is Fran. Like talking about herself in third person. And she used to date a guy named Dave in high school. They were boyfriend and girlfriend.
So hold on. Is this a mother and daughter talking to each other?
This is this is the daughter telling her mother's story, but from the daughter's perspective of telling the mother's story, apparently.
So wait, so the girl that's being told this,
okay. Girl asks her mom for advice on how to get a boyfriend. Mom goes quiet, says, don't bother. Then she told this story. And now the daughter is now telling the story that her mother told her, but from the daughter's voice.
So the question is the statement, my mother's name is Fran.
That's the daughter.
Is that the mother? The daughter is telling about the mother that's telling the story.
The daughter's telling the story, her mother's story, but like to us secondhand.
Okay.
So
because I thought if you're telling your daughter about your mother, that's the daughter's grandmother. Okay. So the daughter is explaining to us that her mother's name is Fran.
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
we got it. My mother's name is Fran, and she used to date this guy named Dave in high school. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. 1 year later, my mom dumped him. When my mother and her best friend Becky turned 18, Becky married Dave and left town. My mother didn't hear from Becky for about 7 or 8 years. I don't know why I said 2. One day, my mom got a call. It was Becky. She invited my mom to go to her mansion for dinner. My mom went that day, and when she walked up the mansion steps, she came upon the front door.
Ew.
What a weird place for a door. My mother knocked and knocked and knocked, but no one answered. So my mother opened the unlocked door and went in. Laying on the
That's
couch. What?
That's what you do. No one answers, just open the door.
Just walk in.
I mean, she was invited.
True.
So,
lying on the couch was my mom's best friend, Becky. She was completely dead, and her head was missing. She had been decapitated.
Oh no, is that why?
I think that's what might have happened.
That's why the head was missing.
Oh my God.
It all makes sense now.
My mom dialed 911 and the police showed up and they found Becky's head. It was behind the couch. There was also a terrible smell. They looked everywhere, and finally in the closet, they found Becky's husband, Dave. He had stuffed an old sock as far down his throat as possible and suffocated himself. Stapled on his head was a note which read, "Fran, you have no idea how much you hurt me when you dumped me in high school. Well, now I hope you're happy. Your friend is dead, gone forever. Love, Dave." My mom never forgot about that night.
How could you?
Tip from me: be careful for who you dump.
For who you dump.
Yep. Love, Dave.
Love, Dave.
Oh, that one is fun though too. It's just like what a way to kill yourself. By the way, staple a note to your forehead and then shove a sock down your throat until you suffocate.
An old sock.
An old
Not
sock.
like you just opened a wrapper of new socks.
Right.
I am surprised that she was not able to forget that night. I mean, I don't think anything really eventful happened. So, what's your take?
Fucker, you knew I had to walk away from the computer for a second. Don't do that shit.
I was commenting on the story.
My take is yes.
Okay. Yeah, right. That's the completely improper take.
Oh.
No, I said I'm surprised that she was not able to forget that night. How uneventful.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what an unnecessary thing to say. Not you, her.
No, her. Yeah, no, I know. I knew that the whole time.
So, Sean, what was your favorite story? There's some goodies in here.
You know, there are a lot.
Talking about let's skim through them quick. Yellow Spot.
I don't like that one. That's not even close.
Dawn of the Bears.
That one that's got some moments.
Yeah, it's good.
But definitely not my favorite.
Return of the Frozen Baby.
Nah.
Something Caught His Eye.
It's getting better, but no.
Okay. Attack of the Tree.
Oh, I like that one.
That one's pretty good.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
The Cursed Sweater.
5. Oh man, there were so many stories.
There was some good ones, right?
Yeah.
Glass Elevator of Evil. You know, the elevator that never stops until it does.
That was really short and sweet, though.
Yeah, the first few stories were nice and short.
Yeah.
Who Was Phone?
No.
Like Scuba Divers.
That was. Oh, I like that one a lot.
Yeah. 3 Ghosts.
That was good.
All the day there was all this blood.
Oh, is that the one where he gets on the elevator he goes shopping?
He filled an elevator. He filled an elevator with blood first.
And one time the blood got a kid and a dog.
Yeah, and then he got chased by all the vampires ever. So
wouldn't they just? There's plenty of blood there. They don't have to chase him. They could just drink what's already expelled.
They could just follow him with cups and then just drink out of the cups.
Yeah,
if you dude,
he appears to have an endless supply of blood.
Well, yeah, like that. Here's the thing, right? They said like everybody decided to send him to space. It's like the vampires probably would have been happy to take him in.
I think they voted no on that one.
A never-ending fountain of blood.
Yeah, they voted nay.
Why would they vote nay to that? They'd just be like, "Hey, just sit here in the middle of this room."
No, they would vote nay.
Like they voted nay to decide. They voted nay to send him to space.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
got you. Yeah, they'd want him to be like their personal little fountain in the middle of their courtyard.
Yeah,
be like, dude, you can live here. You can live here rent free. You just, supply, like, we will take care of, like, obviously this blood coming out of you constantly is a huge nuisance on you. So let us wine and dine you like crazy. And, look how many people, how many lives he would save that the vampires aren't feasting on all these other people,
Yeah, he's making the ultimate sacrifice by, no one else is going to fall victim to becoming, some people may want to become vampires and they can still do so.
Oh, wait. I forgot a very crucial part of the story, Sean. That man is you.
Oh, bye.
See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at hsfamouspod. Or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
Two brothers.
Two brothers. Two
different brothers. Two brothers. The boys, their father.
Why is father?
Their father.
Two brothers.